Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another night of iRacing action here on the National Racing Network. My name is Patrick Byrne, and joining me in the booth tonight is our favorite Frenchman, Sebastian Kinder. Tonight, we're at the late great Lakeland Speedway, also known as USA International Speedway for a while, down in Lakeland, Florida. Currently, this track is no more. It is the site of multiple warehouses, couple distribution centers for a bunch of big car manufacturers, and that is about it. No more racing going on in the great state of Florida here at this wonderful 3/4 of a mile short track. Tonight we have the PM18 cars. Some of the most fantastic cars here on the iRacing platform. Just shy of 300 horsepower, short wheelbase, kind of like a miniature Indy car here. Seb, you have a little bit more experience driving these cars, especially on these little tiny ovals. What's your experience here at USA with these beasts?
This is a completely different beast than from what we're usually used to with Raceway Gateway, Iowa, or Legacy Phoenix. This one, it's going to be very tough to pass. With those tight corners, you're really gonna have to take care of your tires, and also prepare your overtakes. You can't really dive down the inside. So this will be very technical and very interesting to watch.
Yeah, one thing to note here tonight is this track is so difficult to get passes done. I mean, it's a single groove racetrack. It's really a late model stock car racetrack. This is a place where the bump and run was a big way to get around this track, and can't really do that with these fragile little open wheel cars. So you got to get a little crafty with your moves. Hope someone misses the entry of the corner and they push up wide. You can sneak the nose down underneath them. That's really going to be the biggest way to pass here tonight. So it looks like just about everyone has completed their qualifying laps here. Currently fastest on the charts is going to be Brian Labarge with an 18:148. Getting my timing all messed up here. Just 0.09 of a second behind him is going to be Ted Burns, and Rod Eskew with an 18:199 is going to round out your podium so far.
Gaps are really small. Oh, well, he is your usual PM18 commentator.
Yes, James Watson not in the booth tonight, so Seb filling in for James, myself filling in for Chris. Watson out there on the racetrack sets his first timed lap. It's going to be an 18:502, only good enough for 18th position, and that's where he is going to start way back there. So obviously not the time that he really wanted. Going to have a very difficult time making his way back up through the field.
Yeah, qualifying is it's everything on this track. With on longer races, you would say like you would privilege track position out of everything else. Already for James, he's going to hope for a few cautions and some incidents in front, so he can get back into the top 10.
Yeah, in the Indy Pro series, this is a C-Class series, which means there are cautions for these races. I'm sure the USF race here was a little bit hairy because that series does not have cautions, but we do here in the PM18s. Going to be a bit of a longer event here tonight, so gonna definitely shake up the strategy a little bit. I can't see anyone needing to stop for fuel or tires, but could be a little bit of damage repair if you mess up your front wing a little bit. Stop down pit road, get a new front wing placed on the thing, maybe a fresh set of Cooper tires, come out there and hopefully try and make your way up through the field. But even with new tires, this track is almost impossible to get a move made and get the pass done.
And especially if you take into account with new tires, is unlike some over tires you may be used to, those Cooper tires, they take a while to heat up. So you may not have that advantage right off the get-go.
Yeah, so your pole sitter tonight is going to be Brian Labarge in that number 6 machine with an 18:148. Ted Burns going to start his outside 0.09 of a second behind him. Making up your second row is going to be Rod Eskew in the number 7 machine, sponsored by the Philadelphia Flyers. Can't stand them, but Rod Eskew is a good driver. Hopefully he does better than the Flyers do. David Porcelli going to start his outside in that number 4 position in the number 2 machine. He is one of the highest ranked oval drivers here on this grid, and going to be fun seeing if he can make his way up into a podium spot. Jason Paydew and Wes Shire, one of the best on the ovals here in the PM18, multi-time TNT Shock Series champion. They're going to make up row number 3. Row number 4 will have Sam Karasala, the Flying Alaskan, in the number 10 car. On the inside, to his outside, is going to be the law firm, Alexander Wesley Hazelworth. Behind them will be the pair of Mike Holler and Everett Paddock. Paddock, typically the top guy, the guy to beat on just about every road course these guys go to, but not a right turn in sight here at USA. He's going to have a tough time making his way up through the field. Stepping outside of the top 10, you're going to have Jason Miller in the number 13 machine. He's going to be starting 11th. To his outside is going to be the Brazilian Naiji Camargo, number 12 car in the number 12 spot. Behind them will be the pair of Mike Long and Jem Mazzana. I almost with Matt Short was in this race. I love seeing Mike Long and Matt Short paired up together. Two of them are great friends and kind of funny to see them side by side. But behind that pair is going to be Tyler Stover and Joel Campbell. Two of the lower ranked cars in this field, some bottom split champions, get to show their light here in the top split, see what those drivers can do, and see if they can make up some iRating here. Behind them will be Jason Zide and our favorite James Watson. He's only our favorite because he's in the booth here. Our name's on the side of his car. He's one we're going to have a lot of fun watching make his way up through this field. Next up is going to be the pair of Stephen C. Thompson and Daniel Smith, Colby Mann and Stefano. Michael Authen and Cody Whitworth are going to round out your field of 24 cars here at the USA International Speedway. A lot of new names in the grid, not recognizing a lot of the drivers, but it's going to be fun to watch them try and see what they can do. It's always fun when we get new guys in the series.
New blood is always good for this series, and thank God we have 2 laps under caution right under pace car, because you would have not finished that grid before green if it was only 1 pace laps.
Yeah, especially since my timing and scoring screen is partially cut off, so I can't see half of the drivers. Especially, we have all of these new faces. I have no idea who half of these drivers are, but that NASA rocket ship is going to be starting on your pole. Pace car is going to dive in, and lights out, and away we go. Porcelli going to be right behind them. Brian Labarge with a fantastic start. Very easily makes it single file as they dive off in the turn number 1. It's going to be Ted Burns, Rod Eskew, then David Porcelli, all single file throughout top 4. You have to look all the way back to the 6th position of Wes Shire. Even further back now, Sam Karasala and Hazelworth still side by side. Ted Burns looks like he's anticipating a move on the race lead. Got side by side with Labarge. He's going to have the inside in the turn number 3. This is the easiest way to make a pass. Just get right underneath somebody, and you can see how much slower that high line is. He's going to lose the spot to to Ted Burns as well.
Yeah, very smart. Like, yeah, if you're getting overtaken, your priority is to get in line as soon as possible, or else you're going to get freight train the whole race.
There we go. Now the timing and scoring wants to work. Going to have an 80-lap race here, working on lap number 3, and already there is a caution. Caution is out.
Yeah, with this many cars, such a small track, expect some selection from the early lappers, so maybe a few cautions in there.
See if we can catch a replay of what happened to that number 23 machine. Here we go on the outside of James Watson going in turn number 3. Oh man, takes out another car. Oh, Watson involved as well. Watson was spun around there in the incident. Unfortunate for all of the drivers involved. That number 23 machine is going to be stuck on pit lane. Stefano Facco in the number 24 car. Doesn't look like he has any damage. The 19 car of Michael Othon also looks fine, and even James Watson's car, that number 39 machine, still looks like it's all right as well.
Yeah, it didn't seem he hit someone. He just spun trying to avoid the crash. So a lot of aggressivity on the earlier stages. When you fight in the back, in my opinion, you shouldn't be so aggressive. Just let it flow and see what happens. But you still gotta get. I mean, I do understand you still gotta get up, trying to get positions. It's a tough track.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite tracks in iRacing. I believe this track and Iowa are tied for the 2 tracks I have the most wins at, with 11 at each. Here, every single one of them has come in the late model stock car. The current car raced by the Cars Tour. So much fun to drive that beast around this little track. Iowa, just about all of those came in the Indy car, with the exception of one that came with the Xfinity car, and that's about it. These 2 tracks are some of my favorite on the service, and they also happen to be 2 of the best tracks to take these Indy Pro 2000 machines out to.
It's true, Iowa is always a very good track when it comes to Indy Pro 2000. I do remember some insane finishes from when I was, I think 2 years ago, man, now. Yeah.
Yeah, a couple updates ago, this Indy Pro 2000 was a fantastic machine to race at Iowa. It was like a Talladega-style pack race. We had guys bump drafting in the TNT series. I mean, where else in the world can you see little open-wheel cars like this bump drafting? Absolutely insane.
That's why the PM18 is one of my very favorite cars. It's a challenge. It's fun. You can do wacky things with it. Like it has a complete package.
Ari Corcadillos checking in, asking what happened to the other commentator. Well, Chris took the night off. He's having dinner with the family. I decided to step in, allow him to go out and take a little vacation. And Watson decided to come out here and get ready for some racing. As lights are out on the pace car, the field's going to dive into turn number 3. Pace car is going to jump off, and we'll be getting ready to race again. Sign-on checking in, saying that NASA rocket ship is blasting off. Yes, it did. Looks like we're still trying to look at the pace car, though. Let's try and get the look with David Porcelli. I think we pay our cameramen too much. They're putting the camera on the wrong cars now. I'm totally not telling them what to do. But Ted Burns off to a great start. About a car length ahead of David Porcelli. Brian Labarge trying to get his spots back. Almost getting into the rear end of Porcelli there in the turn number 3. Not making contact. No harm, no foul. Whole field starting to spread out a bit more now. Closest battle on track is going to be for the 6th position between Jason Paydu in that Napa Auto Parts Indy Pro machine. Right behind him will be Alexander Wesley Hazelworth, tailing very closely behind, trying to get the run in the turn number 1. Not going to happen.
Hazelworth is doing the right thing. He's trying to get a bit wide in the entry to corners to get a better exit, so he can get under Jason Paydu to try to dive down the inside. It's very tough, but that's one of the only ways to overtake here.
We'll ride on board with Alexander Wesley Hazelworth. See if we can see what he's doing to try and get these moves done. Now you see Jason Paydu all over the rear wing of West Shire. But Hazelworth now all over the rear wing on the entry of the corner behind Paydu. Backs off early, lets the gap build. Going to get another fantastic run off of turn number 2 here. And you see at this stoplight just after it, that is the moment you want to lift off of the gas pedal. Here in turn number 1, same thing. You're going to see that stoplight mounted up on the wall. You hit the stoplight, off the gas, onto the brakes, into the corner you go. David Porcelli now, your new fastest guy on track. Last lap of an 18:163. We are approaching qualifying speeds here.
And again.
See, this track almost reminds me of Martinsville a little bit, just in like the rhythm of it. You long straightaway, slam the brakes, set the car in the corner, smack back on the gas, and you're going to be wide open. As now it looks like Hazelworth trying to make the move on the 16 machine. Is he going to get it done? Yes, he does. They are side by side going down the back straightaway now. Once again, in the turn number 3 and 4. At this move.
He's leaving a lot of room. Jason Peters leaving a lot of room down there. That allowed Hazelworth to get by.
Yep, now Karasala's going to get by, as well as Everett Paddock's going to follow him through as well. You were just hung out to dry with absolutely nowhere to go there on the top side. Finally slots in, gets back in the line.
You're going to see this whole race. If you're in a pack, you better hope that the guy behind doesn't overtake you, because oh boy, it's back there you go.
Up in front of them, Rod Eskew is battling side by side. Looks like with some lap traffic out there, it looks like it's the number 19 machine of Michael Othen. No action going on towards the front of the field. Everett Paddock now trying to catch up to Sam Karasala, see if he can get a move done.
Quite the pack we have here. Mike Holler just overtook Pedu. Pedu is going down the overalls here.
Yeah, Jason Pedu having a little bit of trouble keeping up with the rest of the field. Possibly already burnt off the tires, and it's only going to get worse from here. Would also like to apologize for a little bit of the stuttering you're seeing on the stream. Just got the new studio set up here in Ohio. Had some internet maintenance go on earlier today, and seems like things aren't straightened all the way out. Thankfully, I can still get everything on the air, but still not perfect just yet. Supposedly getting some upgrades here later in the year, but I'm going to take that with a grain of salt. But we currently have some great battles going on the track. Everett Paddock now closing the gap to Sam Karasala.
And one more to group for 4th place.
Wes Shire is finally caught up to the back end of Rod Eskew, with Hazelworth now right behind. Hazelworth's going to try and make the move on Wes Shire. If not this lap, maybe the next.
There's still 66 laps left in this race, so they have time.
Yeah, you see Rod Eskew getting a little bit defensive going down the straightaways. Kind of bringing the car to the middle of the track, making it really difficult for Wes to find a way around. Wes shoots high in the turn number 3, leaves the door open for Hazelworth. Hazelworth doesn't take the gap, though, and he's going to get a huge run off of turn number 4 because of it. David Porcelli starting to catch up to Ted Burns. Gap is now down to just a quarter of a second. Brian Labarge falling off from that battle. About a second behind the leader and about a second ahead of Rod Eskew. So kind of in no man's land there is that NASA rocket ship. More lap traffic on the way, though. See how that affects Ted Burns and see if it breaks his rhythm. Allows Porcelli to get by.
Lap traffic is going to play a huge role in this race.
Oh, the lap car slams on the brakes, goes high, almost blocks Brian Labarge. Oh, man.
This is not the thing you want to see
as
a top car, a loud car getting in the wall.
That is one of the biggest risks here with these races that don't split, is anybody can join in these. I could put myself on this track. Maybe I'll be in the middle. Maybe I'll be towards the top. You can get some guy that's never touched one of these cars in an oval before, might run him occasionally on the road course side, and all of a sudden he's in here with two of the biggest names, I would say even all of the biggest names here in the Indy Pro 2000. So it's a little bit nerve-wracking your first couple times in these things on an oval. You're
right.
Chris Graham of the National Race Network checking in saying, I love when things work right. I would say we're working at like 85% capacity here. It's working. I'm not sure I would call it working right, though. Almost approaching the halfway mark, though. We're just 7 laps shy. Already seen a great race so far. Only 1 caution in this one to this point. Probably won't see another now as the field has spread out. Looking like there's some closer battles going on with this pack here. This pack is headed by the number 5 car of Westshire all the way back to the number 4 machine of Everett Paddock is in this group. Looks like we had a great battle going on back here, though, as we'll watch along with Mike Holler. This 4-car breakaway is looking like it's spicing up pretty good. Naiji Camargo looking to get on the inside of Mike Holler, not able to get anything done there, but you see he's getting antsy and getting ready to make the move.
One word is patience here. You have to be patient. You can't force something else because you will wreck the guy in front of you and yourself. As you said, wait for a mistake or try to see if you can get a better exit, and that will be your moment to shine. That will be the moment to strike.
Yeah, there will be mistakes here. Even the best drivers at the circuit make mistakes. Those 2 braking marks there, those 2 traffic lights, are not perfect markers. Sure, they're great when the tires are nice and fresh, but you have to back up the corners a little bit more once the tires start to wear. Otherwise, you're going to push right into that outside wall on the exit of these paperclip corners. This battle dying down. We'll go and watch in with the number 9 car of Hazelworth and that 5-car peloton. Sam Carasala all over the rear end of the number 9 machine of Hazelworth. That gap is about 1/4 of a second still. As Hazelworth makes the big dive on SQ, not able to get anything done out of it, but definitely let him know that he is there. Trip the spotter message.
Has allowed Westshire to actually pieces out.
Yeah, because of how much higher SQ had to take the corner, as there's almost contact as well just behind them between Carasala and Paddock.
This is heating up.
So we are now at the halfway point of the race. Only 41 laps to go. As now, I've never seen this done. Can Carasala make the move happen on the outside? He has the run.
Wonderful.
Hazelworth's going to be on the inside in turn number 1 and 2, though. Oh, they're going to squeeze up to the high side. A little bit of contact with the wall. Paddock thinks about making the move 3 wide. Not able to get it done, though.
That's the second time. I think Hazelworth is having issues with the tires because he's getting tied at the exit of turn 2.
Yeah, I've never seen the outside line work for this long. And Carasala actually gets it done. Paddock now able to get to the inside of Hazelworth as the 24 car is slow and is going to stop on the backstretch. Hazelworth is in the wall. So we were getting a caution out of that no matter what.
Yeah, right front tires on the left rear. Hazelworth was struggling on his tires, but yeah, that was
just car snaps away on its own. I don't believe there was contact with Paddock there. Maybe a little bit of netcode there, just getting the car loose. See if we can see what happened to the number 24 machine.
Oh, and I see some people hitting on the timing towers. That's interesting.
24 just decides to step on the brakes, park it, just to bring out the caution. I would say that is protestable.
That is really... Oh. Or maybe he's stunned trying to let people by, but
even then, he brought out the caution there. He caused things to get tight between Hazelworth and Paddock, and unfortunately, I'm gonna blame the 24 on that caution there. I mean, he brought it out regardless, but unfortunately, Hazelworth doesn't have a rear wing anymore. A little bit of speculation there, but uncool. Uncool, I believe, is the only word I can use to describe for that.
And I mean, I don't know. So 24 cars. So that's Stefano. I don't know how many races he did on ovals, but like that was something I would consider very stupid to do.
Yes.
Like, you don't stop on an oval, especially on the he was pretty much on the apex there, or on the apron. So common sense 101. Like even if you want to let people by, just don't stop on the apron. Go high.
Do anything except that.
Yeah, anything except that.
But we are going to have 36 laps to go. Once the lights go out in the pace car, they'll probably be at 33 laps to go. It doesn't look like any of your leaders pitted. The highest car up to pit will be that number 10 machine of Sam Carasalo. Will that be the move of the race? I'm not sure he's going to be able to get up and sneak a win in, but I might be able to break into the top 5 with the way this race is shaken up.
Will depend on how the tire wears, and if there's a big difference between a worn tire and a fresh tire. Now remember, he's still got to get through that heat cycle, so that will be very interesting to see.
Yeah, these tires do get better as they wear in, but these oval tires are different than the road course tires. I think the oval tires fall off a little bit harder than the oval tires do, than the road tires do. So that could be a really great move and allow him to get huge drives off the corner and let him really make some moves, make some really risky moves going into the corners. But lights are out on the pace car. This is going to be your last lap on the caution. Going to be 33 laps remaining. Pace car is going to dive in this time into turn number 3.
Here we go again.
Pace car is in. They hit the restart zone. And away they go once again.
Oh, Paddock being very sneaky.
Yep. Paddock getting a bunch of spots there on that restart. Also saw the 24 car dive off and slam on the brakes once again. Oh, Paddock slides way up the racetrack, able to slot back in. Oh, man, that could have been very, very bad.
Lots of overspeed in that corner.
You know, that caution just has me thinking of that Robin Miller quote, where you can just get some sponsor dollars, take your rookie test, and go out there and run the Indy 500. Racing might be the dumbest sport in the world, man. That's what I think. You play baseball, you have to work your way up. Same thing with football. Not racing, you just need a couple dollars. But whole field is right back where they were, single file. Closest battle on track is going to be for the 12th position between Nick Camargo and Jason Miller. Ted Burns absolutely running away with this one. Porcelli and Labarge now could be getting themselves into quite a tight battle here. Labarge maybe cooling those tires off, going to have a little bit extra in the car. Looks like he's gaining time on Porcelli here.
Westshire being very close to these two.
Yeah, breaks away from the peloton behind them. Westshire is now in this front pack of cars.
Carousel moving up to 7th.
Ted Burns out in the lead, goes new quick time. That is going to be almost an 18 flat. So very, very fast time there by Ted Burns, proving why he is running away from these guys. Gap to second place is now over a full second.
So will we go down under the 18 bar?
We could, but caution is out once again.
Oh, we could be in a situation where caution breeds caution. That could be very interesting.
There we go. Just loses it off of turn number 4, spins it around into the grass. I am surprised that brought out the yellow. I have seen crashes here on iRacing where we have silver crowns upside down all over the racetrack. Caution flag doesn't come out. Here in the Indy Pro, you can spin out, not hit anything, keep the car going in the right direction, and nothing will happen. No, maybe that did not bring out the caution. What brought out the caution? Here we go.
Oh, that would do it.
This is what brought out the caution. That's going to be the number. Can't read what number car that is, but that is going to be Colby Mann. Oh, and the number 14 car loops it going into turn number 4, smacks the outside wall, hits the pit attenuator, trying to get into the pits. Doesn't look like much damage on that car. Throw some fresh Cooper tires on it and get back out there on the racing circuit.
Again, lost control between 3 and 4, so probably maybe overspeeding a bit too much, trying to force that front to turn, but maybe the rear doesn't follow up, and then the rear just snaps, and
Yes.
next thing you know, the rear's in the wall.
This is a track that I absolutely love because it fits my driving style. You enter, especially turn number 3 and 4 there. It's a little different than turn number 1 and 2. But you get on the brakes hard in the turn number 3, but not so hard. You let the car push up the racing circuit, have a ton of rear brake bias, get back on the brakes, pull the car down low for a second apex, and then it wants to really rotate and spin on you on exit. I can't think of a lap at this track. I didn't kick the steering wheel 90 degrees to the right to catch the car. But that is the fastest way around this place, at least for me. I absolutely love this place. Going to try and get an onboard look with David Porcelli here on this restart. Once the pace car dives in, we'll ride on board with him and see if we can see him doing anything wonky there with the steering wheel anywhere in these quarters. If his driving style is different than mine, I would imagine it is a little bit. Probably.
Go ahead.
Probably not as much snap oversteer built into these setups as I like, but.
One thing he has to do for that restart is to stay close to Burns.
Yeah, not let Ted Burns absolutely run away with this thing.
Yeah. And because pretty much maybe his shot will be only like in the first 2 laps of this run. So he has to stay close, react to the right moment. He's been watching Ted doing multiple restarts. He knows his zones. It's up to him.
Ursula Graham checking in the comments. Who's this new guy? The same guy that was passed out drunk on your kitchen floor a couple years ago. But lights are out on the pace car. Let's ride on board for this restart. You can see there the dash and the steering wheel running high up in first gear. All of the drivers going to move way outside to this high line. Because you are allowed to pass on the high side. You can't pass low before the start-finish line. Pace car is into the restart zone. Ted Burns gets a huge jump once again. Running up through the gears now is David Porcelli. Dives into turn number 1. Lets the car roll nice and gently right back onto the power. Has to step back out of it. He felt the car get loose there like it was going to push up the racetrack. Same thing in the turn 3. Overspeeds a little bit. Brings the car back down to the apex on the throttle. No snap oversteer. Just can't keep up with Ted Burns. Staying a lot closer this time, though. Only 0.4 of a second behind now.
Meanwhile, Westside just overtook Brian Labarge. It is heating up back there with Radescu and Everett Paddock, too.
Yeah, Everett Paddock trying to get around Brian Labarge now. These 3 cars are going to be your tightest battle on the racetrack. Follow right behind them is going to be Radescu in that Flyers car and Sam Carlsala in the Air Alaska machine.
Oh,
Carlsala making a very gutsy move. Gonna try and get the crossover on the exit. Not able to get it done. That dive is so difficult to get done in turn number 1. A little bit easier in turn number 3 because the braking zone is just slightly different. Just behind them, the law firm Mike Holler trying to make the move on Jason Paydu. They're running such similar schemes this week. Oh, almost contact there.
That could have been a contact with net code.
That could have been fantastic. Could have ripped Gritty right off the engine cover of that number 7 machine. Not that I want anything bad to happen to Rod Eskew, but anything that hurts Gritty is a good thing to me. Once again, side by side.
He's got him now.
Yep, they're going to stay side by side. Karasala has to check out of it. Rod Eskew able to get away scot-free and get a hold on to the position. I think I'm giving these Flyers way too much airtime here. I mean, even Wells Fargo Center doesn't like the Flyers all that much. A couple nights ago, had the power go off at the game.
Wow.
Yeah, even the city of Philadelphia doesn't want to see the Flyers. But Karasala makes another dive in the turn number 3, trying to get the move done on Rod Eskew. That time not as close as a couple laps ago. Steven Thompson now with the fastest lap of the race. That one was going to be an 18.090. I'm not sure we're going to break the 18-second mark here tonight. But only going to be 10 laps remaining.
Wow, it has gone by quickly, and Ted Burns has just checked out.
Yes, Ted Burns, basically half a straightaway away. He's halfway through turn 3 before David Porcelli is even entering the corner. This is the Ted Burns show here tonight. Chris Graham of the National Racing Network, a noted Philadelphia Flyer fan, checking in, telling me to watch my mouth. I don't think I will. You threw me the keys to this NRN machine. I'm going to bash the Flyers all night long. Ted Burns now a full second ahead of David Porcelli. I got to give props to our cameraman here. Only one camera here. Looks like he's on top of a big scaffolding or something, doing complete 360s around this track. Stuck him on the infield. I can't believe he is not dizzy at this point. We'll give him a little bit of a break. We'll switch over to the front stretch cameras here. Looking back in at Brian Labarge, trying to close the gap on West Shire, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to do it. West Shire might be locked in for a podium finish here tonight.
He's still not that far, and we only have 6 laps to go, so never say never. Oh, I see some side-by-side action behind. Yeah, Everett Paddock and
Karasala making some big moves here. On the inside of the number 4 machine of Everett Paddock. Almost contact there. Karasala, oh man! Not even inches to spare. Paddock's going to get the crossover though, as there's contact behind.
Oh, that's the caution. That's the caution.
Rod Eskew is in the wall. That is going to bring out the caution. No green-white checkers here. Ted Burns, I believe, is going to be your winner. Unofficially, so far, Ted Burns is your winner. Let's see if we can get a replay of that incident with Rod Eskew.
Right front tire completely off. That was a tough battle with the 11.
Yep. Looks like the 11 just gets underneath him, spins him out. Gritty, unfortunately, unharmed, but the same cannot be said about the front end of that machine. Smacks the wall once again. It's riding around with 3 tires. He's going to try and finish this race, though, I think.
And his race ends like your Philadelphia Flyers season ends. In tears. Sorry, Chris. I had to.
Yep. The number 11 of Holler just goes for a huge dive in the turn number 3. Just slides right up the racetrack. Nothing that Rod Eskew could have done. Tries to catch the car up high and nose plants straight into that outside wall. Unfortunate end to the night for what was going to be a great finish here for Rod Eskew. Decides to bring it into the pits. It is going to be your last lap. Ted Burns, after he comes through turn number 3 and 4 here, will officially be your winner. David Porcelli going to come out in the second position, and Wes Shire is going to round out your top 3. Going to go side by side for the 3-wide finish. Is it going to be a photo finish? It will not. Well, not with modern camera technology anyway. Ted Burns, officially your winner here tonight at the USA International Speedway here in the U.S. Open Wheel C Championship. Oh, man. Unfortunate end to what was going to be a great race, but Ted Burns earned it. No matter if it was going to end under caution or end under green, Ted Burns easily going to be your winner here tonight. Fireworks going off in the background. Let's wait and watch him burn it down. Puts it in victory lane, dumps the clutch, spins it around. That downforce racing machine always looks fantastic here. Barney the flagman seeming unamused by all the festivities that are going on. He's just standing there waiting for the night to end, collect the paycheck from the lady in the front office, and hopefully he has a nice short drive home to Boston, Massachusetts.
I think he's wondering if he left the stove on.
Yeah, did he leave the stove on?
Did I leave the stove on? What should I have to do tonight? That's probably what he's thinking.
Carl checking in saying, great broadcast. Well, thank you very much for the kind words, but it is now time to get our interviews underway. We got the results here up on the screen. And first up to come in the booth, we will bring in Mr. Ted Burns, your race winner. Ted, you looked like you were driving out there on autopilot tonight, pulling away from the field, building up gaps of well over a second. Was there even any competition out there for you?
David definitely kept me honest, especially earlier on. I was trying to do my best to save the tires earlier in the race and still keep them behind me, and it was tough. And I mean, I didn't start out front either, so I still had to overtake for it. So it was tricky to get it done early, but I knew my setup was really good in clean air, and I didn't want to be in dirty air all race and pushing the fronts off of it, which is I think what happened to everyone behind. So I was knew I had to get past quickly and not relive a Kern scenario all over again like last season. So it was that was the game plan, and it worked out perfectly, and the car was just awesome to drive.
Now, was clean air the key tonight? We saw a lot of cars getting loose, a lot of incidents happening in Turn 4 specifically. Was Turn 4 tougher than the rest of the corners on the track, or do you think dirty air had something to do with that?
It's definitely I think Turn 4 is the only spot I had the car ever step on me in the race, and it was only like one lap where I was trying to push the pace a little bit with like 15, 20 laps to go. Yeah, I think it's just real borderline the setup around here to get the right balance, to get the right rotation in the car. It's a little bit too much front downforce. So it's either you got to have a car set up really well for in the dirty air or in the clean air. And if you execute a pass and then got out in front, you can definitely be caught off guard if you have a little bit more front wing in it. So. It was tricky, but from a setup perspective tonight. But yeah, it was a lot of fun to drive.
Hell yeah! Well, thanks for coming out, putting on a show. Hopefully, we'll see you next week. Any last words, sponsor shout outs, thank yous?
Yeah, got to thank Downforce Racing. That setup was awesome to drive tonight, especially starting up front. That was pretty cool to be able to do that. I got to thank you guys for putting on an awesome broadcast each week. I love going back and watching it, and I'm sure all my family and friends back home appreciate it as well. So thanks to you guys and for everyone for coming out and racing tonight.
Hell yeah, thank you, and you have a fantastic night, man. Hopefully we see you on the podium again next week. Next up, we're going to bring in David Porcelli, your second place finisher. David just not able to get it done here tonight, but still put a fantastic whooping on the rest of the field. You and Ted were in a different class of your own the entire night, man. Was it setup? Was it skill? How'd you do it, man?
It's been a while. It's been 6 months, so I wouldn't presume to say that I've got this set or I've got it super dialed in or anything. I was able to get the practice in, and like I was grateful to podium. So you know, it looks like the series is still competitive, which is really nice to see. It's a tough track to make that pass happen on. I think Ted and I both got lucky with Brian getting caught out at the start with the cold tires and just being able to get some drive off of the exits. We were able to get around him. I don't think that would have been so easy to accomplish later in the race when the tires were more worn. And that's just sort of the nature of it. I had to be conservative and realistic about my expectations for this evening. And I was able to log a nice silver and maybe some championship points, although we'll see. The ovals usually get dropped in the championship tally.
Oh, man, that is unfortunate to hear because the ovals put on some of the best shows here, but that's why we were on the Shock Series. If you like the oval racing here in the PM18 cars, come watch Shock. Anyway, man, thank you very much for coming out here, putting on a fantastic show. Any sponsor plugs, thank yous want to get in?
Yeah, absolutely. The ovals are always a blast. No sponsor plugs. Just want to say thanks to the family, thanks to TNT and all the racers for still being here for me to come participate in. This community is phenomenal. I think it's one of the best on iRacing, if not the best, and just glad to be back.
Hell yeah, well, thanks for coming out, and hopefully we'll talk to you again next week.
All right, guys. Thanks. Peace.
Last but certainly not least is going to be Wes Shire, coming home in the bottom spot of the podium. Not to make it sound so bad, but those two cars up front, they were in a class of your own. You were kind of leading the second group of guys here. And you absolutely did a fantastic job. Had to work your way through the field a couple of times. Just showing why you have been the TNT champion multiple times, showing you know what's up here on these ovals.
Yeah, I had to play a bit of the long game there. I did what I could to save tire early, and got really lucky on the heat cycles on the second and third caution. First one, not so much, but yeah, second and third caution, my car came in real quick, and it's like, all right, we got to go now. Almost put it in the wall after the second caution, trying to get by Brian, but yeah, all in all, good enough night for where I qualified compared to where I finished.
Is it really a night at USA International if you didn't almost wreck the car 4 times?
No, definitely not. It's very much a frequent occurrence.
Well, any sponsor plugs, shout-outs, thank yous you want to get in for tonight?
Yeah, as always, got to thank you guys for the broadcast. I assume Graham will be back from wherever he is soon, but hey, you guys are doing a great job in the meantime. And big shout out to Homestead Coffee, keeping me awake and alert enough to do all this, work my way through the field, and have a little fun.
Hell yeah, well, thank you very much for coming out. And hopefully we're talking again next week, if not in the USF 2000 or the Indy Pro Series, hopefully in the TNT Series. But until then, you have a fantastic night, sir.
Yeah, thanks. You too.
All right, Seb, so what were your thoughts on tonight's race? I mean, I had a blast here, but obviously you're over there in Europe. You're more of a road course guy, I would think. So this oval up to par, up to spec?
There were more passes than I thought there were. A bit more cautions, but that's due to a very large
Yeah.
and also a small track.
You were,
So overall, that's a good. Was a good race.
yeah, you were predicting kind of a boring follow the leader race, and frankly, I was a little bit too. USA in the open wheel cars is not really known for being a crazy pass happy race, but tonight it was, and I'm really happy about it.
Yeah, and it shows also like maybe they also figuring this track more and more with each year passing. And we know these guys like for a while now, so they getting better. So yeah, it's PM18 is always getting better. It's almost cheating because this car's already super great.
Yeah, I your third place finisher tonight, Wes Shire, he has a spreadsheet of all of the ovals that work for these cars, and it's not a really long list. There's a list of really, really good ones where the cars would be all right at, and that's about it, maybe 15 or so tracks. And then in officials, that list gets whittled down to 4 or 5. So USA comes up a ton with these cars, and most of these guys have pretty much mastered it now. But that is going to wrap up the night of racing here at one of my favorite racetracks, Lost to Time. Next week, we will be back for the Silver Crowns on Monday. I believe we have TNT on Tuesday. No longer have a show on Wednesday nights. And then right back here again with the PM18s on Thursday night. But until then, my name is Patrick Byrne. Joining me in the booth tonight, Jesus, I can't get the words out, was Mr. Sebastian Kinder. And we will catch you next time. Thank you very much for coming out and watching the show.